It looks David Harrison almost reminds you of David Price, who pitches for the Boston Red Sox at 6'3", 206. Big pitching assignment tonight for the kid who has an ERA of close to 6.
Yeah, he's a guy that you're going to have to watch. He's going to need to be down in the strike zone against these Tiger hitters, and you're going to see that fastball be in upper 80s, low 90s, but again, it's all about command and location for Harrison.
His Auburn batting lineup has really crushed the ball so far, Troy, as you know. 34 hits, 2 games. Will Holland, Stephen Williams, Brett Wright have all had super starts. Then it's Brennan Venter. Edouard Julian's gone deep already in this tournament. Jay Estes, Luke Jarvis, Connor Davis, and Josh Anthony has really given them a push from the 9th spot. 5 for 8, including 2 walks, 4 runs scored, and a homer.
Yeah, I think so. The key thing to watch, I think, in this ball game is you got to remember that NC State has already played 1 game today, so they're loose. They kind of got the nerves out, and they've got that under their belt. So let's see how Auburn, if they can start out hot and quick, I think NC State's going to have a tough time. But sometimes it's a little difficult to wait around for that night game if you haven't played earlier on that day.
Number of teams have a chance to punch tickets tonight, as the undefeateds are playing once-beaten teams. The once-beatens hoping to get to a Game 7 tomorrow night in a majority of the 16 regionals. 3 balls, no strikes on Will Holland. 4 for 9, 4 runs batted in, a home run, and 5 runs scored. Great table setter for the Tigers.
This is going to be key if Harrison can come back and get Will Holland in this at-bat, because this is going to set the tone for this ball game.
Left-hander deals, and he loses him on 5 pitches. Stephen Williams to the plate. Defensively for the Pack, Kinnaman, McLean, and Deathridge. McLean without an error this year. Patera, Wilson, Jarrett, and Edwards, Harrison, and Bailey, who threw out 2 today, including Jacob Hurtubise, the nation's top base stealer. Stephen Williams, 5 for 8, 5 runs scored, 5 RBIs. Did a lot of his damage, Troy, Friday, where he was 4 for 4 with 4 runs batted in.
Yeah, big game on Friday. Not so much yesterday, so they need to get him dialed back in again. And it's really nice being a left-handed batter with a runner on first base, because you've got this giant hole. The first baseman, Edwards, is having to hold on Will Holland, and it creates a big hole between first and second base.
Williams was the last man last night in the win over Army to join the hit parade. Everyone else had at least 1 hit, and he was feeling left out, and finally came through a hit in his 5th at bat, which has him batting at .625 in this regional alone. 2-strike pitch. Base hit right field. That's the hole you spoke of. They'll go station to station, and the hot-hitting Tigers have 2 on with nobody out.
Yeah, you're exactly right, because I think that Jarrett is playing right where that ball is hit if there's not a runner on first base, because he's going to be squeezed to the middle to set up the double play. So, again, that walk is crucial so far early on for the Tigers.
The catcher, Brett Wright, hitting in the 3rd spot, 4 for 10. Couple of runs scored and a run batted in. Overall for the season, 11 homers and 44 ribbies. Showing bunt, ball 1. 17 hits opening day for Auburn, 17 hits last night.
So if Wright's going to bunt, he really needs to bunt that ball down the third base line to make that third baseman field it. That opens up that path for Holland to get to third base with nobody covering.
First 5 hitters in this Auburn lineup all have at least 4 hits in just 2 games played.
And pretty changeup right there by Harrison. You'll see that a lot out of the left-hander against right-handed batters, because it'll go down and away, just like that last pitch did.
One of his better pitches. The 1-1. Bunt toward the pitcher and first baseman. One play only. Good sacrifice by Wright. Runners both in scoring position now for Brendan Venter.
Great execution by the catcher Wright. You got to remember, a lot of these guys in high school were their best team's players, so they weren't required to do a lot of bunting or sacrificing, moving guys up.
That changes a bit in college, does it not?
Absolutely.
Venter hitting .312 for the season. Home run threat, 4 of 10 in the regional tournament. And it includes a run scored. It's not driven in anybody yet. But really, the way this team's been playing, he hasn't needed to.
NC State's got the shift on. They've got the shortstop, Wilson, playing deep in the hole, kind of the 6 hole between third and short. And then you've got the second baseman, Jarrett, playing right back up the middle. So big hole over on the right-hand side, but trying to take away the pull nature of Brendan Venter.
Venter born in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. Both pitches inside 2-0, and it almost seems like Harrison is trying to stay away from him.
It's going to bring a visit from the head coach. Elliot Avant's going to go out there in a hurry. I think just trying to settle down his young left-hander.
Open base, even though it's just the top of the first. And you do have Edouard Julian to follow in the 5 spot. And he's been really tough to get out.
We got to remember, this is an elimination game for the Wolfpack. So nobody in the pin yet, but there's a couple bodies down there ready if they're called upon.
Avent told us earlier this morning before the first game was played, first elimination game today, that he concentrates or had concentrated just on the first game only. But at the same time, you get the feeling that this game is an all hands on deck game because they need to win it to force a final game. Gorgeous night for baseball, low humidity, no possibility of rain. 2-0.
A really pretty 2-0 change. Harrison pitching a little bit backwards right there. A fastball count, and you see that Venter was way out in front and really dove after that ball down and away.
Holland is the base runner at third. Williams, the runner at second. And he's come back with a vengeance since the coaches' conference, 2-2.
Well, this Wolfpack defense is going to concede a run right here. Third base and shortstop. Shortstop's playing in the outfield grass. Third baseman's almost there. Very deep.
Popped up toward right field and down the line. Will it be enough to score a run? Auburn's going to try. 1-0 Tigers.
Jim, what do we say about walks?
Oh, yeah.
They come back to haunt you. That's Will Holland walked the first batter. He got on. That ball was hit. You didn't know if it was going to carry deep enough, and it just kind of kept going. Deathridge, not a bad throw, but too much speed by Will Holland, third base, and just deep enough.
And on a throw toward home, Stephen Williams gets the third. That could be important on a wild pitch or pass ball or infield error. Edouard Julian. Strike one. Holland now has scored 6 runs in 3 games in the regional. Julian 5 for 8, 3 runs scored, 4 batted in, and a home run. And a good stop by Bailey. He's had a really strong defensive tournament, Troy.
Yeah, he's just a talented catcher all the way around. A guy that we saw what he can do at the plate. He's already hit a couple of home runs here, but very quiet behind the plate. What I mean was when he receives the baseball on each pitch, he's not moving a lot. He'll get a lot of extra calls that way, and it can really block as well.
Julian smokes one down the right field line, way foul. That in the neighborhood of first base coach Carl Nunemaker. Spent a couple years in the Phillies organization.
He wanted no part of that. Now NC State's going to do the shift. They're going to bring the third baseman all the way over to play on the right side of the infield. 3 infielders on the right side for Julian.
To the shortstop. Tiger's going to run on a hit and leave a man at third base. It is a battle of left-handers tonight. Andrew Mitchell's turn to take to the mound. Redshirt senior from New Orleans, Louisiana, whose ERA is a tick above 4 and can get the fastball around 92, 93, Troy.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more pop than Harrison does on that fastball, but again, both these pitchers are pretty similar. They're going to have to pitch with location. They're not just going to absolutely blow you away with that fastball, but I think the big difference is Mitchell is a senior and actually a redshirt senior. So the experience level, he's pitched in a lot of big games, so he's ready to go.
Josh McClain, if he's healthy tonight, and it appears he is, ready to go in the leadoff spot. Then Brett Kinnaman, Will Wilson, the hot-hitting Patrick Bailey, Evan Edwards, who's had a couple left field home runs, and on down the line with Deathridge, Brown, Patera, and Jarrett. This down the right field line, and caught! Terrific catch by Stephen Williams. Sports Center highlight, perhaps?
Yeah, we talk about the lack of foul ground, especially well down each line. There's only about 3 or 4 feet there just to flare off the bat of McClain, but Williams gets over there. Just perfect play right there. I like the effort there by Williams.
Now Brett Kinnaman, 3 for 11 in the tournament. Couple of runs scored, a run batted in. Lefty versus lefty here in the bottom of the first, in a 1-0 game. And will the team scoring first winning hold true? It's been 5-0 so far for the team that struck first. Auburn obviously has the early jump in this one. Will Wilson bats third and will follow. I think it bears saying again the nature of this field and how the grounds crew here at NC State was able to get things together, because about this time, a couple hours earlier yesterday, when the monsoon-like rains hit, didn't look like we'd play for a week.
Yeah, I was looking maybe to try to find a rod and a reel to go out in the outfield, maybe try to see if I could catch a fish or something out there. It was a lake.
But you were checking out the area around first base.
Yeah, the thing that what happened was when the tarp was originally pulled on yesterday, the teams were just finishing the ball game, and the grounds crew had to wait till the teams finished congratulating each other, and they could not get the tarp on the first base path from home to first. And it's trying to see if it was wet or mushy, but tell you what, they packed that down really well. But just kudos to the grounds crew.
Slow roller down the first base line, tough play. Scooped up and thrown to first, out. Well done by Andrew Mitchell.
Who says pitchers aren't athletes? Mitchell had a good one. That's just a great play right there. And I think the only play he's got is to use the glove. Yeah, that's a nice call.
So 2 fine defensive plays by the Tigers just in the first inning. Set the Tigers defensively for you. Davis, Estes, and Williams in the outfield. Brandon Venter, Holland, Jarvis, Josh Anthony, third to first. Mitchell and right. Pitch and catch. In Chapel Hill, North Carolina has scored 5 and right now leads 6-3, end of 3. Tar Heels trying to finish off Houston tonight. Last year, North Carolina eliminated on Sunday night by Davidson at its home ballpark. Count 2-1 to Wilson.
Yeah, really good off-speed pitch right there by Mitchell. Wilson just a little amped up in this at-bat.
Towards center field. Right at Estes. NC State up and down in order. It'll be Estes, Davis, and Jarvis in the Auburn second. Moments ago, fine play by Andrew Mitchell, defensively for the pitcher's spot. Well, speaking of pitchers, how about this guy the other night?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Number 4 on ESPN Sports Center, top 10. That's like anything you can do, I can do better.
David Harrison. What was the phrase we heard? Jeter-esque?
Yeah.
Reminiscent of the playoffs many years ago between the Yankees and Oakland. Likely saved that first round series where the Yankees were down 2-0 in a best of 5. Jay Estes leads off the Auburn second. Ahead on the count, 2 balls.
Well, this is critical right here for Harrison. He walked Will Holland in the first inning. He came around and scored.
Down the third base line. Estes around first, digging for second. And another good start for the leadoff hitter in the Tigers lineup.
Estes was so fast right there, he just broke his chain. First out of the box, he hits a rope down the line, then a shin guard flies off, and then as he's running, oh, there goes the chain. He lost some jewelry out there between first and second base.
Connor Davis showing bunt, taking a pitch up high. He's a left fielder batting in the 7th spot. Then it'll be Luke Jarvis and Josh Anthony. Tigers now with 36 hits in a little more than 2 games. Check that. That's Luke Jarvis batting right now. And Connor Davis will follow.
Almost looked like Jarvis is bunting for a hit right there instead of a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, Evan Edwards is playing right down his throat at first base. He's creeping in well inside that grass area.
Jarvis has walked 4 times in this tournament. But he's behind here 1 and 2. He also has 4 hits and 7 at bats.
So his job right there was to move that runner up to third base with less than 2 outs. So that's really tough to do with 2 strikes.
This will move the runner. Throw over to first and safe. It appears that Evan Edwards was pulled off the bag, and now Auburn's got him on the corners with nobody out.
Well, and that ball was a chopper. It was a great read by Jay Estes to advance to third base. Wilson knows he's got to get rid of that ball in a hurry, and that's a ball that Edwards just has to reach well over to his right. Just doesn't come up with it. I think Wilson had a little more time at shortstop than he thought he did. And there's Avan. He's calling down to the bullpen saying, hey, we need to get a few guys up and get up in a hurry.
And there is some activity in the bullpen now with runners at first and third and nobody out. A lot of respect for this Auburn lineup get behind too far. Not going to have a chance tonight.
A pretty good looking pitch. I think the hometown crowd has got a pretty good beef right there.
Connor Davis hitting .274, a couple of home runs, 33 batted in.
Well, Joe Donnell, the closer for the Wolfpack, already starting to throw, so that just tells you what's going on here.
Left center field. Easily enough to score a run, 2-0 in favor of Auburn. Sacrifice fly, Connor Davis.
Well, you look how big it was that Luke Jarvis was able to move that runner up to third base. Able to score on that sacrifice fly by Davis. Tell you what, Auburn's manufacturing some runs here early on.
Here's Josh Anthony, who's had a off-the-chart tournament. 5 hits, 8 at-bats, 4 runs scored. And some changes with Anthony, both defensively and where he hits, seem to be making a big difference.
Yeah, I think so. The move from third to first base kind of took that defensive pressure off of Anthony, and it's going to move him down the bottom of the order. He's really produced in the 9-hole.
Ready to turn over the lineup again. Snap throw to first by Bailey. Just missed. Tagging out Luke Jarvis.
We see Jarvis really taking a big secondary lead. Bailey, nice strong throw. I tell you what they always teach a player is slide into the back part of the base, the farthest away from home plate. It doesn't seem like much, but that extra foot might be the difference between safe or out. And I think that's what Luke Jarvis did right there. He dove for that back left corner of that first base.
Grady Smith's the home plate umpire tonight. Ken Langford at first. Eric Lovelace, umpiring at second. Morris Hodges at third. 2-0 Tigers, top of the second. Well, Anthony's been kind of leaning a little bit in the last 2 pitches. And Grady has said both of those are good enough for strikes, 1 and 2.
Yeah, what's happening is he's thinking about trying to cover the outside corner with that straight change. I love the ability to Harrison to be able to pitch on the inside corner.
Runner stays, hit towards center field, hit well. Here comes a runner around third. Anthony in the second, 3-0 Tigers. And the hit machine keeps rolling.
Well, Jim, here's something to think about. Josh McClain kind of tweaked a hamstring early on. This is a center fielder that can absolutely go get the ball with the best of them in college baseball. I don't think he's 100% out there. I think if he is, I think he catches that baseball.
Really?
Yeah. He came up after they threw that ball into the infield. I watched him, and he had to really try to turn it on right there, and he was not feeling too good. You can see him right there. He's going to take a knee, but I'm telling you, I think there's something wrong with his leg. It may not exactly be the hamstring, but he's not 100%.
Here comes the pitching coach, Scott Foxhall. His 4th season at North Carolina, College of Charleston graduate, and that'll be it for David Harrison, who gets a nice round of applause. Take a break. Auburn leading 3-0 and threatening to get more. Troy alluded to Josh McClain, and it was earlier in the day on a triple against Army where he struggled across second base, and watch as he pulls up at third, he's going to grab that hamstring. And so you feel he's still not 100% even though he's giving it a go.
Yeah, and watch him run right here on a base hit. You can see him really just kind of barely cruising in, and you can tell he's just laboring to get to first base right there. I mean, you got to give the guy credit. He's playing with a lot of guts, and you know he's still really fast out there with about 1.5 wheels. But I'm telling you, I don't think he's totally healthy out there.
Joel O'Donnell's the relief pitcher right now. 11 saves and ERA, that's splendid. He's the closer in this team, but right now it's all hands on deck. Just 8 walks, 37 strikeouts. National Pitcher of the Year semifinalist.
Well, I think it just shows that you've got to stop the bleeding right now if you're NC State, and you got to do it in a hurry. So the big thing for to avoid on O'Donnell. You see that huge sweeping breaking ball right there. That thing comes out of his hand. I think the second it leaves his hand, it starts breaking, and it doesn't stop.
Man at second is Josh Anthony, who now in the tournament has had 5 hits, make that 6 hits in 9 at-bats from the 9-hole.
Well, something to remember here. Auburn has 3 runs. One of them has come around on a walk. The other one, the E6 by Wilson. So those are basically 2 gifts that the Tigers have received from the Wolfpack.
Already both leadoff hitters in each inning have scored. As you know, the Wolfpack have plenty of firepower, and the way this has started, they're going to need it. Auburn trying to make a super regional for the first time since 1999. Nearly 20 years. 3 balls and a strike.
Pretty good looking pitch right there that just missed.
Will Holland walked to start the game, came around to score. Again, he's already plated 6 runs in this regional.
A really good stop right there by Patrick Bailey.
And Holland's aboard again. Many things to admire about this Tigers lineup. But I think, Troy, the fact that the table setters do exactly what they're supposed to do, which is get on base and eventually come around to score.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's you know how it's drawn up. We talked about the big hole that Williams was able to hit through the first time around. There's in that big holes there again.
Going the opposite way down the left field line. Vandy from the SEC trying to eliminate Clemson from the ACC, leading 6-2, top 5 in Death Valley. Stephen Williams batting .291 for the year with 11 homers and 49 knocked in. Williams is already the 11th batter for the Tigers, and we've just kicked into the second inning.
Yeah, you mentioned it, though, that this Wolfpack lineup with a lot of firepower. I don't think I would exhale if I'm Auburn until this game's over because, man, I'm telling you, they can score in bunches.
That one smoked down the right field line. Count remains 2 strikes with a man out and 2 aboard for Auburn here in the second.
O'Donnell looking for a ground ball. Would love to see something hit in a middle infielder. I think that'd be a big momentum swing for the Wolfpack if they can get out of this inning.
Blew it past him with a high fastball, 2 outs.
O'Donnell reaching back for a little something extra right there and going up in the strike zone. Great pitch and great location. Not only up, but up and away from Stephen Williams.
Brett Wright trying to keep it going for the Auburn Tigers with 2 outs in the inning. Right toward left field, base hit. Let's see if they send the runner. They will. To home plate, safe. Ball hit the runner. Anthony's home. It's 4-0 Auburn.
That's going to be a really close play, but like you said, the ball hit Josh Anthony and allowed the Bailey couldn't get to it. The ball's ripped into the left field by Wright. Good job by Kinnaman to come up throwing. He throws a strike. But watch it hit Anthony as he comes around third base. You know, he has no idea where that baseball is and slide in safely.
Brendan batting for the second time in 2 innings. Had a sac fly in the first. 8th man to step to the play for the Tigers in this inning. Well, you posed the musical question, what about the layoff for Auburn?
Well,
it's worth noting, except for the fact that apparently it hasn't mattered.
Well, I think that was the message that Butch Thompson told us before the game. He's like, the only advantage that other team has or that NC State has is because they played that first game. You know, you always wonder how your team's going to come back and if you can start off quickly, and Auburn's done that right here.
O'Donnell strike away from getting out of this inning, which has already plated 3. Auburn win tonight. Tigers are on to the Super Regional. NC State wins. We're back tomorrow night. This crowd trying to get into the game for NC State. That'll help. Still Auburn with a lot of timely hits, including one from Josh Anthony. And some help from Brett Wright. After an inning and a half, Auburn 4-0. Welcome back. The ESPN networks bring you every game on the road to Omaha. Starting with regional coverage on ESPN2, ESPNU, LHN, SEC Network, and ESPN3. Whip around coverage also available through ESPN3 and the Bases Loaded channel. All coverage available on the ESPN app. Bottom of the first in Lubbock, Texas Tech 4, Louisville nothing. Patrick Bailey, 3 for 11, a couple of homers and 5 batted in to lead off for NC State in the pack second.
I think it's critical right now that NC State comes back and scores a run, at least one right here, to kind of take the momentum away from the Tigers and kind of push it toward the pack.
And for Auburn, the obvious plan is not to give back, make this a give-back inning in which the Tigers score 3 and give some of it back. Patrick Bailey, Evan Edwards, Brock Detheridge, 4, 5, and 6 for Elliott Avent's team. Talked to hitting coach Chris Hart earlier today. He was certainly pleased to see NC State's play yesterday and today as well. Said it wasn't a matter of changing things in the batter's box. Sometimes it's just the mental approach to a game after they've been shut down by Army Friday night, scoring just a single run.
Really good job by Bailey right there, just to get a piece of that one. Good hitter spoil, good pitches. Mitchell's really been hitting his spots, so that's something to keep an eye on.
Strike 3 called. 4 in a row for Andrew Mitchell. First strikeout.
Man, the big 12-6 curveball by Mitchell. That was a big one. That had some depth on that curveball.
North Carolina has added 3 to the 5 it had previously, now leading Houston 9-3 in the fourth. Trying to win the Chapel Hill Regional. Evan Edwards, 3-run triple, followed by a home run earlier today of 3 runs. Well, if Mitchell keeps the Wolfpack off the bases, home runs won't make a huge difference. It's when they're hitting them with men aboard.
Good take by Edwards right there. Again, Mitchell's the guy that's not going to blow you away with that fastball. You see the big crowd here in Raleigh.
Saw a big crowd exiting when this game was over. We figured they'd go find a shady spot, maybe get to a cooler and come right back in. And looks like almost everybody has made their way back. On 4 pitches, Edwards aboard for Brock Deathridge.
Deathridge can really scoot down the first base line, and a tough guy to double up. Only way you're going to do that is hit like a one hopper to second base or shortstop.
Auburn will keep an eye on Edwards. Mitchell works from the stretch. He has missed on 5 in a row. And that means it's time for a conversation. We'll see with pitching coach Steve Smith, who spent a number of years winning games at Baylor, 744 total in 21 years. Has to say to Mitchell, it doesn't take very long.
No, I think he's just, settle down. Don't try to overthrow. You're not a guy that's going to be effective throwing 1 mile an hour faster. It's all about spots.
Well, you certainly want North Carolina State to earn its way back in instead of free passes and then a bomb. Puts them right back in the thick of things.
You see Mitchell really falling off the mound on that delivery.
So what's that mean?
It's just not very balanced. I think he's normally does that, but I think him just, almost a little over-exaggerated right now. He needs to kind of try to drive more toward the plate instead of falling toward the third base dugout. See the release and the difference right there? He finished standing up instead of finishing, falling toward third base.
The DH, Devontae Brown, getting a start tonight, would bat next. Two balls, 2 strikes.
The Auburn outfield playing very deep for Deathridge. One of many with home run power.
Got him a swing and a pitch out of the zone. 2 outs.
Well, that big overhand curve has been Andrew Mitchell's best friend, and that was really nice. Look at Deathridge. He even goes down to one knee to try to get down in the strike zone for that one. No need to throw down to first, with first base being occupied.
And after 6 consecutive balls, the appearance of pitching coach Steve Smith may have settled Mitchell down a bit or helped him find something he wasn't doing. Strike 1. Devontae Brown DHing tonight, the 7th spot.
We'll just call it words of encouragement sometimes pitching coaches come out and give. Sometimes it is positive. Sometimes it's a little, hey, you want to be out here? Do I need to go get somebody else to do it?
Sure. 2 strikes, 2 outs on Brown.
Might be a little more colorful than that, too.
That's why we never mic him, right?
No, that's exactly right.
Auburn Tigers trying to wrap things up. Get back to Auburn, Alabama. Enjoy Casey Mize's big moment tomorrow night in the MLB draft. Mitchell has thrown 5 consecutive strikes. And in a pitch count, a strike is recorded on any foul ball. So if you're wondering why there may be more strikes than actual strikes and outs in an inning, that's how they keep score here. Mitchell again, the 0-2. Brown making him work.
I'm a little shocked at 0-2 that Mitchell is throwing pitches in the strike zone.
Really?
I don't like to waste 3 feet outside. I mean, you got to throw a pitch that the hitter, at least in his mind, will think that he might have to swing at it, protect, but I wouldn't mind burying a curveball in the dirt right here. Trust your catcher.
DH has been a tough position for NC State to get some offense out of, so they're going to try Brown tonight. Edwards the runner at first with 2 outs. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It's a really good take by Brown. Guy that hadn't had a lot of playing time this weekend, and that's the pitch I thought that they could get him on. He lays off, just spit on it.
Fair ball. Got him. Nice throw by Venter and a scoop by Josh Anthony. 4-0 Auburn as we go to the third. Troy Eklund, part of the College World Series in the late 80s. Jim Barber. Troy played for Arkansas. Arkansas now in the SEC and cleaning house in the first 22 games of the tournament, winning 18 of those 22, and 9 the 10 teams that were selected by the committee are alive and well.
Yeah, I think it shows the depth of the league, and ACC still got 5 alive, so that's still another good number. But it's just that SEC is so deep.
And when you start on the right foot, namely if you're a regional winner and you win the first game, your odds of winning the regional are 4 or 5, 81%.
That shows how critical it is. So you're looking at this regional Auburn, like you've mentioned many times before, in the driver's seat in this one. But tell you what, there's a lot of baseball left to be played.
Edouard Julian, who popped out to end the first, leads off for Auburn in the top of the third. 1 for the Tigers in the first, 3 in the second. Vandy and Clemson doing an SEC ACC battle tonight, like this one. Shift on here. As you notice, third baseman is in the shortstop spot, and the second baseman is playing a little right field, which is good, as we saw the other night. If a ball caroms off that right field wall, he usually comes right back out to that, what looks like an additional fielder there. Julian says the heck with that, into right field. Ball bobbled around first, heading into second. For the third straight inning, the Tigers have the leadoff hitter aboard.
Yeah, we've seen guys just hit the ball right over the top of the shift, and Julian does it right here. And watch this play by Deathridge. He goes and gets it and miscues it right there, and that's just enough to allow Julian to scamper into second base. That's going to be key if there's a ground ball hit right here, and Julian advances to third base with less than 2 outs.
It's a hit and an error on the right field, Deathridge. And so now it's Julian at second, nobody out. Jay Estes, who doubled and scored in the second. Go back to that statistic in this regional that really has come into play. The team that scores first wins.
Yeah.
Right now, those teams 5-0, and Auburn working on a sweep.
And remember, Estes' job is to move the runner up with either a bunt or hit something, either a ground ball to the right side, maybe a fly ball, right field or center field. Championship teams execute, so let's see if Auburn can do it right here.
2 balls and a strike.
I like O'Donnell going inside, not allowing Estes the opportunity to hit that ball to the right side and move that runner up.
Duke leading Troy in the 5th. That's an elimination game. Now 3 balls and a strike. Do you still look for a bunt?
I think they let him swing. But again, he's still trying to do that job and hit the ball to the right side.
Runners at first and second, nobody out.
Good take by Estes. Ball's just off the edge of the plate.
Besides getting the leadoff hitter aboard, this is also the 3rd consecutive inning that the first 2 have reached.
Yeah, it's a recipe for disaster. That's why Auburn tallied 1 in the first and 3 in the second.
No activity for the moment in the NC State bullpen. Luke Jarvis showing bunt. Tigers now have 39 hits in 3 games.
It's just really tearing up the baseball here in Raleigh. They've liked the atmosphere and the hitting background. I think Jarvis has got to get this bunt down. Good effort.
Sacrifice works. That'll bring up Connor Davis with 2 runners in scoring position and 1 out.
I like the move right there by Auburn. Anytime you have a chance to get 2 runners in scoring position with just 1 out. Now, NC State, first of all, they came with the infield in. They're going to play in at the corners and back up the middle. I like that. They don't
really?
Yeah, you don't need to get in desperation mode. If this was Army, a team that only hit 10 home runs in the year, yeah, you got to make that move. But this is NC State. You've got the breeze is kind of blowing out. You've got a lot of home run potential.
And tonight you may need it, particularly if one or both of these runners score in the 3rd. Davis hitting in the 8th spot, had a sac fly in the 2nd. Josh Anthony, the 9th hitter, will follow. $28 pitches and counting now for Joe O'Donnell. Having a little trouble with the strike zone. And you know, if you're not hitting the zone, umpires aren't going to help you.
Yeah, really good 2-0 breaking ball right there by O'Donnell. That's the thing for Davis right here. You've got to think, if you see a breaking ball, you got to swing at the one that almost starts in your back pocket.
Blew it past him 2-2.
Davis really helped out O'Donnell. Expanded that strike zone. O'Donnell went up and in. That's a place you're not going to get hurt. Now you got to lay off that big sweeping breaking ball.
Big pitch here for O'Donnell. 2-2. And did it hit him?
Yeah.
No, strike 3.
He swung and it hit him. I think he thought it was going to be the breaking ball, and it was a fastball. Right here, he swings and gets hit in the shoulder.
Yeah.
That's one thing about not picking up what type of pitch it is.
An unusual strikeout. Anthony with 2 outs and 2 on. He has been money in this tournament. Senior from Columbus, Georgia, who had .444 in junior college. To break that down, that's 4 hits every 9 at bats on any level. That's awfully good.
That's the pitch that as a hitter, it's easier said than done, but you can't hit that pitch from O'Donnell. It's going to start out almost in the middle of the plate, and it's going to break off the plate. So the one you swing at's the one that starts on the inside corner.
Tigers ready to turn their lineup over Troy for the second time and get back to Will Holland.
But O'Donnell's so tough on right-handed batters. Again, because the righties aren't used to seeing that ball that starts out and has that much break on it.
Deep in the hole is short. It's going to score 1, maybe 2. Throw to the plate. 6-0 Auburn. Tough play to begin with for Will Wilson. And then the bobble. Further elevated the opportunity for Auburn, and now 2 more in the third.
Well, just kind of a seeing eye ground ball right here that Wilson thinks he's got a play on it. He just doesn't get down on the baseball right there. It doesn't come up. And that's good heads-up play by the runner, Luke Jarvis. No, excuse me, it's Estes out there coming around and scoring.
Now, right now, they're scoring in an error all the way.
Yeah, I think he gets to that baseball easy. He just doesn't get down on it.
You know this much, at least an error has been cemented, so that's 3 in 3 innings on North Carolina State in the biggest game of the year. Josh Anthony at second base and back to the top of the order for the third time.
Here's the thing about that play by Will Wilson. Even if he gets to that baseball, I don't think he throws Josh Anthony out at first base. So that's where you sit there and go, my job is to smother that baseball and keep another run from scoring.
That is Wilson's second error already tonight. Well, Holland has walked twice. This Tiger team has been relentless, and their skipper Butch Thompson told us prior to first pitch, we got to be in attack mode. And guess what? They are. Toward the second baseman, perfect spot for J.T. Jarrett. 2 more for the Tigers. Regional, Doak Field at Dale Park on the road to Omaha. Jim Barber and Troy Eklund, bottom of the third. NC State already in a 6-0 hole. And at least through 2 innings without a hit.
Yeah, I think what State has to do right here is just manufacture at least 1 run. There'll be maybe a little more patience at the plate, but get some guys on, move them around.
By the way, back to Josh Anthony and the grounder. That was a tough play for Wilson. He does get credit for a hit. And then after a bobble in the outfield, an error is recorded. So I believe we'll take away an error from Wilson and give it to Kinnaman. Either way, as the first strikeout of the third inning is recorded, the Tigers have a 6-0 lead, and that's 3 punch-outs for Andrew Mitchell.
Yeah, Mitchell's just really feeling it right there. Kind of a borderline pitch right there on the outside corner. Terra didn't agree, but Auburn gets the call.
SEC flexing its muscles in this game, certainly. That one popped up and away. Duke leading Troy 8-6, top of the fifth. Mississippi and Tennessee Tech and Oxford 5-5, top seven. Towards second base, slow roller. Not a problem for Luke Jarvis, 2 outs.
Yeah, really good play by Jarvis. He didn't rush it, played the big hop, and threw a dart over to first base to Anthony.
Number 15, Josh McClain.
This game officially an hour in the books, shortly past 8 o'clock Eastern time. Back to the top of the order for NC State and Josh McClain. Hitting .400 in the regional, 6 of 15. Greeting you tonight from Raleigh, North Carolina and the Raleigh Regional. Jim Barber, Troy Eklund, Auburn 6, NC State nothing. Towards center field, Jay Estes. Up and down in order, go the Wolfpack.
Well, the Tigers got things going in the first inning with a run around third base. Sacrifice fly by Brenton Venner scores Will Holland, and then Josh Anthony comes up, founds the gap right there, and torched one out there and scoring Luke Jarvis, and then Brett Wright comes up and hits a bullet to left field, scoring Josh Anthony. The throw actually hits Anthony on that play, and then Anthony again, he's been all over these highlights, hits a ball that they call a hit, that goes to the outfield, and an error by the outfielder scores 2 runs, and I'll tell you what, the Tigers are looking really good right now.
Yeah, moments ago, by way of public address, saluting the veterans in our audience tonight.
Leading off the fourth inning for Auburn, the right fielder, Stephen Williams.
They got to love that.
Had the academy here, Army of West Point, for 3 days before bowing out earlier this afternoon. Stephen Williams to lead off. He's got 6 hits in this regional, followed by Brett Wright, who's got 5 hits, and Brendan Venter, who's got 4. And on we go. And back to the shift by NC State. 3 to the right side of second base, and 1 in the shortstop spot to the left.
Telling you, if I'm Stephen Williams, I'm gonna push bunt down the third base line.
And go for what, a double?
Well, yeah, I saw Robinson Cano do it. You have to bunt it really hard because you got to bunt it past third base or hit it out of the park.
How about this? Foul. Yeah, the distance. That wasn't a question.
Oh, he almost hit it over the trees out there. Oh, my goodness, that ball was destroyed.
This was golf. Would be hard to find.
That's where I hit my drives, out in the woods. That ball is absolutely launched. It's not even in the picture. It's hit so high and far. There it eventually comes down. I think it's Tuesday now. Good grief.
A long strike. Count even 2-2.
I think that Butch Thompson, what he's going to do right here, and we actually talked to one of the NCAA umpires who's over umpires and said, okay, what's the ruling? How can a coach come out there and talk? And I saw that they had all the umpires had a conference, and they want to see, he goes, nope, that's how it works. He said that's that umpire's call, but sometimes someone else gets a better view or a better angle as far as they see the ball when it wraps around the foul pole.
So this would be what he's requesting as a conference.
But you got to remember, when you see the ball come down, it's like 50 feet past the fence. So, I mean, to me, I called it off the bat foul. I thought it was a foul ball. I didn't think it was very close. But that's what they do is that thing looks like it's a good 20 feet foul. But sometimes that's what you see the conference with the other umpires to say, hey, did you see anything different than I did? And everybody agrees. Just a long strike.
Auburn trying to get its leadoff hitter on Troy for the 4th consecutive inning. With 31 runs and 40 hits. And for the 4th straight inning, that has occurred. It's been by way of walk, double, error. Actually a hit and an error and a walk.
Number 22.
Well, NC State really wants a double play ground ball right here. That would be an absolute gift.
Toward left field, down the line. Brett Kinnaman hauls it in, and back to first base, Stephen Williams goes. There is one out in the 4th. Brendan Venter now hitting for the 3rd time, and as Troy mentioned, he got the scoring started with a sac fly in the 1st inning. Auburn 1 in the 1st, 3 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd. Well, if Auburn's able to wrap this up, it will have an advantage. Not only finishing tonight, but because of rain in Gainesville, who knows when the Gators, if they win it, are going to finish.
Yeah, that's true. Get that a few extra days rest, possibly, at least one anyway.
They haven't completed the first game today. They're still in the top of the 7th. Between Jacksonville and Florida Atlantic, you may remember FAU got a 12-0 lead in that game. It is now 12-7. It's been held up forever. The Gators are to follow after that, but likely not tonight, or at least not until late tonight. And on the second goes Stephen Williams. Recorded as a pass ball as Venner fouls one back. Just 2 of the first 4 innings. Auburn's got the leadoff hitter on by way of a hit. The other 2 times, virtue of walks. The 1-2, way outside, and Bailey's got to dive for it.
That's a great stop by Bailey. Not really sure how he got to that baseball. That thing was almost outside the left-handed batter's box.
Foul ball. Minnesota trying to polish off UCLA and win its regional. They had 4-2 in the 3rd. Gophers beat the Bruins in the first meeting earlier in that regional. Big Ten has lost a couple of teams so far. Ohio State and Purdue have been eliminated. Indiana remains alive. Scored 9 in the 1st against Texas A&M earlier today.
In the Fayetteville regional, Fayetteville's in trouble. Dallas Baptist, bases loaded, no outs. And Arkansas already going to the bullpen.
Wow. 2 balls, 2 strikes, man out, the 4th. And foul. Even though Gabe Gross, the third base coach, was ready to wave Stephen Williams home.
Let's take a look at that one. That one's close, but I think he was right on the line. Morris Hodges, I think he made the right call.
What do you think? Stephen Williams whacked one down the right field line that was barely foul, and now this by Brendan Venter. Their hitting has been frightening to opposing pitchers. Tigers win tonight, why should they even rest?
Just dial up somebody else. Play midweek while they're waiting for the Super to start.
Absolutely. May need an opponent, depending when things get done in Gainesville. No activity in the NC State pen. David Harrison started. Joe O'Donnell in relief. And now he's thrown 56 pitches. And again, this is the closer for the Wolfpack. Called on in what you would certainly regard as an emergency situation.
Wow, thank goodness for the net. That thing was absolutely torched. Hit right above the third base dugout.
Speaking of high-powered offenses, one-seed Stetson has scored 10 on Oklahoma State in the third inning. Still batting. First and second now with a man out. We have seen some colossal innings this NCAA tournament.
Yeah, there's been some huge numbers thrown up in different games. This is not really who you want to have up if you're NC State. Julian with a lot of pop, and O'Donnell with a breaking ball that's coming back into the barrel of Julian.
Advantage batter, right-handed pitcher against left-handed hitter. Approaching twilight here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Quiet crowd trying to get its team revved up. But in this game so far, Auburn's been the beneficiary of a slew of walks, 3 errors, and made 6 hits. And some of their swings look like batting practice.
Yeah, they are absolutely teeing off. And that's just a long strike, but Auburn's really barreling up the baseball.
The slew of walks has totaled 5. One-two pitch. Popped up. Towards center field. Runner set to tag. Gonna try it. Gonna make it. Stephen Williams on to third base. 2 outs for Jay Estes.
Heads up play by Stephen Williams, and I like how McLean, he knows he probably doesn't have a shot at him, so he makes sure he hits the cutoff man. Keeps Venter over at first base.
Closest game by run differential in this tournament has been Army and NC State Friday night. Just 4 runs. Just 4 runs. Everything else has been one-sided. This one, at least so far, heading in that direction. Jay Estes on base twice, has a double, walked, scored twice.
Well, the Wolfpack have somebody warming up down the pin and starting to throw with some earnest.
Scott Foxhall, the pitching coach, out for NC State. Team has used 2 pitchers so far. Michael Beeline, who was a possible regional final starter, is now throwing the pen. He's 26, a right-hander. Auburn sent 5 men to the plate in the first, 8 in the second, 6 in the third, and coming up on the 5th batter here in the 4th.
You just wonder about, if O'Donnell's your closer, you wonder, he's just, how much does he have in the tank? Because most of those guys are used to just going out there and just really letting it fly, maybe 2 innings or so.
Well, it's certainly uncharted territory, I would think. Jay Estes at the plate. Strike 1.
I mean, the velocity's still there. Definitely has a good breaking ball working.
2, 3, and 4 hitters for NC State in the bottom of the inning. And they'll need a lot more to work their way back in the game. Base hit left field. Tigers 7, Pack nothing. 2-0 hit by Jay Estes. He now has 5 hits in the regional.
Great job by Estes, but another walk comes around and scores. Stephen Williams drew the leadoff walk this inning. That has been the Achilles heel of the Wolfpack.
Now Luke Jarvis.
The other key right there is Williams moving up. I still think he probably would have scored on that base hit, but it made it a lot easier, him moving up on that fly ball to center field.
Tigers have certainly taken advantage of opportunities to run the bases. And to this point, everybody in the lineup has contributed in one way, shape, or form. Everybody has been on base, minus Connor Davis, but he has a sac fly.
There's that filthy slider right there by O'Donnell.
A strike away from getting out of this situation with just a run scored. But he now has thrown 70 pitches, Troy. 70.
Yeah, that's probably his max for the year so far. I can probably guarantee it.
Three balls, 2 strikes, the runners will be off.
Yeah, Jarvis is old school with the choke up on the bat. He's kind of looks like a little leaguer up there. He definitely controlled the barrel head much better. Very short stroke right here by Jarvis.
Able to get a piece of it. We'll do it again.
Yeah, one thing with Jarvis is, he doesn't have a whole lot of bat left to work with.
No.
That's one of those times when you almost choke up so much and you swing and the knob hits you in the chest.
Well, you don't want that. The bases are loaded. 3rd walk of the inning. And if the Wolfpack haven't been already, they're in danger of being blown out.
The left fielder, number 24, Connor Davis.
Here's Connor Davis.
He's a guy that only has 2 home runs on the year. Now, anybody's capable of hitting a home run, but you really have to go and attack Davis right here if you're O'Donnell.
The meter keeps running. Auburn now 32 runs, 41 hits in 2 1/3 games. Here comes the skipper. Elliot Avent, that usually means a change And there will be one. So O'Donnell gave it his best. Again, a superb closer for NC State. He'll be gone. And the third Wolfpack pitcher coming on. NCAA Baseball Regionals are presented by Capital One. And a spectacular night for baseball in the capital city of North Carolina. Troy Eklund, Jim Barber. Huge crowd. Disappointed, at least most of them are. Auburn fans are having a ball. Tigers leading 7-0, trying to close out the Raleigh Regional. And Michael Beeline becoming the third NC State pitcher. Beeline replaces Joe O'Donnell, who threw 2 1/3, allowed 4 hits, 3 runs, walked 5, struck out 3.
Yeah, Beeline, who was a starter a season ago, has kind of battled through some arm injuries this season. His last start against Clemson was really good. See the numbers right there. The ERA is a little inflated. Only 30 1/3 innings for Beeline this year, but opponents are hitting .362 against the right-hander, so they hope they can kind of bring back some 2017 magic from Beeline.
Troy, he's in a tough spot. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Team already down 7.
It's a good way to start right there. First pitch strike.
Yes, sir. Two strikes on Davis, who has struck out 3 times in 6 regional at-bats. He also has a hit and a sacrifice fly. That sac fly back in the second.
Speared by Gabe Gross down the third base line. He still has good hands.
Sure. Wasn't a difficult play, though. Josh Anthony to follow. Beeline again with the 0-2. Mississippi State, which gave up 20 in the first game to Oklahoma, is now ahead 1-0 at the end of 2 in another elimination game. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Another good stop right there by Patrick Bailey.
Bases juiced, 2 outs. Strike 3 call. Nice job by Beeline to get out of a bases loaded jam. And if NC State has any hope, that helped.
Base hit by Estes right there, driving in Stephen Williams. Auburn up 7-0.
Butch Thompson addressed the Major League Baseball draft tomorrow night, anticipating the possibility that Casey Mize, his great right-handed pitcher, will be drafted by the Tigers. It says that everybody from just about every level down for the Tigers has been in to see Mize. Joey Bart, Brady Singer pitched yesterday, projected for the White Sox. He pitches for Florida. It's a good group that's going to help these teams perhaps immediately. There have been many pitchers to go from college baseball to Major League action in a matter of months. Who knows? Maybe Casey Mize is one of them.
Yeah, he definitely has the ability, and a lot of it depends on how the season is going for the Tigers. If they're in contention and they think he can help them, absolutely they'll call his number.
To the bottom of the 4th. Brett Kinnaman, Will Wilson, Patrick Bailey. Wolfpack without a hit, facing Andrew Mitchell. Mitchell has walked one, struck out three. Edwards the only man to reach base in this game. Off speed, ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, Mitchell's not a guy that'll blow you away, but we talk about it, the discrepancy or the distance between the speed of the fastball and that slow breaking ball. That's what makes that pitch so tough. He's probably, well over 10 miles an hour. It could be 12 to 15. The fastball probably upper 80s. That curve is mid 70s at best.
He made 8 appearances this year where he has not allowed a run. Count has worked full. Ball 4. Kinnaman becomes the second base runner for the first time tonight.
And the first leadoff runner for NC State to get on board.
Take the words out of my mouth.
Can
yes.
you talk about how do you start a rally? Get the leadoff man on.
Will Wilson, 6 for 13 in the regional. NC State, 16 seeded out of the national seeds of 16. Winner from this regional faces the winner in the Gainesville regional. Trying to go the other way, 2 strikes. Mitchell has been unchallenged so far. Just walked a man in the second, walked one in the fourth. There have been no NC State threats to this point. Toward third. Long way to first. 1 out. Brendan Venter to Josh Anthony. Runner moves to second for Patrick Bailey.
That's a really nice play by Venter.
Number 5.
He got in there and he fielded that ball before it hopped one more time, and he made a strong throw to first. Anthony had to kind of almost reach across the base runner to spear that one.
If you're wondering about comebacks here in regional play, one of the biggest was in Duke's game with Campbell, where Duke trailed 8-1 and came back to win big.
Florida had to make a little bit of a comeback opening day.
It did. Running Columbia 3-1. Columbia under 500 entering the NCAA tournament and eliminated yesterday. Well hit. And over the wall, ground rule double. Kinnaman will score, and NC State is on the board.
Well, Wilson got that ball up in the zone and drove it to deep left center field. Got to hit it out there in no man's land. It bounces over the fence, for the ground rule double. That's a big play right there for NC State.
First hit of the game, by the way, for the Wolfpack. Bailey now with 6 RBIs in the regional. He's at second for Evan Edwards. Maybe this will get something going.
Imagine this, Jim. The runner that scored, oh yeah, by the way, he walked.
That's happened a lot tonight, hasn't it?
They are haunting pitchers.
Two and 0. More than anything right now, NC State needs base runners. Trying to stage a comeback for the ages and force a final game tomorrow night. Base hit center field. Runner had to hold up. Let's see if they send him. They will. Nope. Decided to bring him back. But in the meantime, on the second base is Evan Edwards. That's a good play.
Yeah, it's heads-up play. Anthony, the cutoff man, couldn't come up with that throw from Estes. First of all, the ball off the bat almost hits the umpire. Edwards hits a laser. The umpire watching will have to lean out of the way right there. Estes comes up with it. The runner at second had to freeze, and he was going back to third, and the runner from second goes on the miscue by Josh Anthony. Couldn't quite come up with the cutoff man, couldn't come up with that ball.
Edwards gets a hit, takes second on the throw. Second and third now for Brock Detheridge. Scoring opportunity for the Wolfpack. This play starting to come alive. Well, Butch Thompson had told us earlier that this place will make some noise, and that's not a big deal. But right now, they're also putting some people on base. That'll be it for Mitchell, who lasts 3 1/3 and leaves 2 runners in scoring position. Back with more in a moment. Number 20, Cody Greenhill of Auburn, made the all-freshman team of the SEC. Won 3 state high school championships in Alabama. A forestry and wildlife major. ERA splendid 1.76. He's got to try to stop the bleeding here in NC State's 4th.
Well, he's got almost a strikeout per inning pitched. That's really impressive. And only 16 walks, so a strike thrower and has swing and miss stuff. So they're going to call on the freshman to come in here and try to quiet these bats down, and the crowd as well, too. You're right. The crowd is really trying to kind of will their team back into this ball game.
Wolfpack will get an opportunity to try to play 2 more in this inning at least and almost halve the deficit, which was 7 to start the inning. This game's already an hour and 40 minutes long, and we're just in the 4th. Here's Detheridge. Left-handed hitter against right-handed pitcher. Greenhill inherits a jam. The infield will play back. Strike 1.
And really good cut by Detheridge right there. Like him being aggressive.
Time called. Detheridge, 4 hits in games against Va Tech and Clemson this year. In the regional, he's 4 of 12 with a couple batted in. 3 for 4 earlier today in the win versus Army. Runners at second and third, a man out. Towards center field, hit hard. Up against the wall's going to score 2. Detheridge around second, going to shoot for a triple. He's got it. Well, it's hard to keep a good team down.
That ball is absolutely torched by Deathridge. And we know he can really run. So Estes with a little bit of a bobble, and that allows Etheridge to get all the way to third base. I'll tell you what, just what the doctor ordered right there.
Suddenly it's become a game. Auburn's already given back 3 runs and a potential 4th at third base for Devontae Brown. Brown swinging, strike 1. This place has started to jump.
Well, you know it was going to be a heavyweight fight of just big blow after big blow. NC State starting to answer.
2 strikes on Brown. Ball gets away, but hardly in a position to allow Deathridge from third to scamper. NC State with a 3-run 4th. Started by a walk. There's a surprise.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what, these Auburn Tiger infielders, they kind of got on their catcher, Brett Wright, a little bit. It's like, man, you got to make a better throw to first base. Third baseman was all over him. Venter, Anthony, the first baseman's all over him.
Third base umpire is Morris Hodges, looking into the Auburn dugout right now. Well, Holland apparently has a nosebleed. That's the issue right now. Holland is the Tigers shortstop who's had to vacate the position. And when there's blood, that means the player's got to come out for the moment.
Have you ever seen that happen before? In the middle of an inning?
Not really.
Huh.
It's not the altitude, right?
I don't know what happened out there. You talk about the lack of moisture. Maybe it's just a little bit of dry air tonight.
2 strikes on Brown with a man out. Runner at third. Wolfpack fans cheering on every pitch. Two balls, 2 strikes. Auburn entered the 4th leading 7-0. And now the count has gone full.
It's amazing how the NC State faithful, there's been a couple borderline pitches in this at bat by Devontae Brown, and they seem to like the home plate umpire now.
Brown stays alive, and everybody here appreciates that. Battle of true freshmen here. Strike 3 call. Big pitch, 2 outs now in the NC State 4th.
Say what, the arm angle and of Cody Greenhill, that's tough to pick up. Boy, that's close.
Well, if it's close, it usually means you got to swing at it, right?
The catcher Wright really had to kind of reach out and kind of pull that one back.
Steven Patera struck out in the 3rd. 1 for 10 in the regional. Runner still at third base. Towards center field. Should get Auburn out of the inning. Wolfpack get 3, though. Work their way back. 7-3 after 4. Back after this.
Big blow by Brock Deathridge, the triple, scoring 2 runs to really get the Wolfpack back in this ball game. 7-3 Tigers.
Top 5, Auburn 7-7-1. NC State 3s across the board. Runs, hits, and errors. Auburn led 7-0 with runs in each of the first 4 before NC State got 3 back. Josh Anthony to lead off the 5th. See if we can make it 5 for 5 with a leadoff hitter for the Tigers getting aboard. And now the Tigers have their 5th consecutive leadoff hitter aboard.
A really tough attempt right there by Edwards at first base. He had the opportunity with being left-handed, but that was a pretty tough hop. Ball hit pretty well by Josh Anthony. He scorches this when you see the short hop right there to Edwards. I think that's how you try to make that play. You just kind of have to take a swipe at it.
Anthony now 3 for 3, has 8 hits in 11 at-bats for a batting average in the regional of 7.27. The other thing about the Tigers getting the leadoff hitter aboard is that in each of the first 4 innings, that hitter scored.
Yeah, it's been kind of the kryptonite of NC State.
And what NC State doesn't want is a give-back inning, giving back any of the runs it just earned. Auburn can finish the deal tonight with a victory over NC State. A Wolfpack win sets up a final game tomorrow night. It means the Tigers can't leave town yet. Will Holland stays alive, battled the bloody nose moments ago. He has walked twice. He is lined out. Holland out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. If you're curious about the best Wolfpack comeback of the year, they've had a couple. Down 5 runs in each of the games against NCAA and Georgia Tech to win both. After trailing by 7, they're now down 4. And I'm sure the Pack would love to prolong this game as long as possible tonight.
Yeah, I think there's, like we talked about, there's a lot of baseball left to play. And when you can throw crooked numbers up on the scoreboard, that really gives your team a chance.
Anthony with the lead. 1-2 pitch inside, almost hit him. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Harrison started. O'Donnell. Now Beanline. 3 pitchers for NC State. North Carolina has used, Auburn has used Mitchell and Greenhill. Holland suffered the bleeding in the nose an inning before, had the whole play up. Things appear to be okay now.
He still has some cotton stuffed up in there. That can't be comfortable when
No.
you're trying to hit.
Hard to speak, too, I think.
Not a bad count to try to steal on if you're Anthony.
He stays. 3-2.
Pretty good looking pitch right there. I think Beanline thought he had that one. See if that's up in the strike zone. I think that's what they're calling. Pretty good pitch.
Runner goes down the right field line. Fair ball. Anthony around second and around third. They'll send him home. It's an RBI double by Will Holland. 8-3 Auburn.
Well, the nosebleed doesn't stop Holland, and Anthony off with the pitch. Scores easily from first base. Holland gets a pitch up in the zone with 2 strikes and just hooks that one. Keeps it fair down the line, and Anthony, he's already hitting second base before The ball even hits the wall, and he scores easily from first base.
And Auburn, Troy, the beneficiary of a pitch that was not called a strike.
Yeah, I think that was probably a strikeout.
Although it should be noted that most of those high pitches have been ruled balls tonight. That'll advance the runner to third on the ground ball by Stephen Williams. Good as a bunt sacrifice, 1 out.
Again, Auburn doing the little things, moving runners into third base with less than 2 outs.
You think about the 3 games we've seen them so far. What have they not done?
Now, they've been very, very talented and just very efficient. Now, NC State's going to bring the infield in. They feel like that they cannot afford to give up and be down 6 runs.
Auburn scoring in all 5 innings, each time with the leadoff hitter coming across the plate. I don't think the NCAA keeps stats on that, but that number in itself is pretty dominant. How many times the leadoff hitter gets on and then comes around to score.
Yeah, you're right. That's a recipe for success for the offensive team. That's a ball that I guess home plate umpire Grady Smith said that it must have wrapped around the inside of the plate. Will Holland thinks that the pitcher flinched. He's trying to plead his case, but to no avail.
Headed into foul territory. It's caught. They'll send the runner home. He is out. Huge double play for the Wolfpack.
What a great play by Evan Edwards. The pop-up by Wright. Running over his shoulder first just to make this catch is amazing. And then to turn around and throw a strike. That's a way to get some momentum. Will Holland's dead to rights to the plate. Auburn still up 8-3.
For more coverage of the Division I baseball regionals and interactive brackets, we invite you to go to NCAA.com. Mississippi State apparently took that 20-10 beatdown by Oklahoma very personally, because tonight the Bulldogs scored 8 in the third and they lead 9-0. Payback.
Absolutely. Sometimes you got to just get a game like that out of your system.
And for what it's worth, Bulldogs have allowed just 2 runs since that debacle on Friday. Brock Deathridge leading off.
Well, JT Jarrett,
JT Jarrett. Bottom of the NC State lineup. A ball and 2 strikes, and then back to the top of Josh McClain. And Auburn's done a nice job of neutralizing him tonight. He's 0 for 2. Auburn 8, NC State 3. Justin Thomas Jarrett, JT. Freshman from Greensboro. Toward center field. And dropping and caught. Jay Estes got a beat on it. 1 out.
Well, Estes was playing a little bit more shallow for Jarrett. He knows he's probably not going to drive one over his head. And the first step was the right one. Just a great break.
Josh McClain.
Here's Josh McClain, 6 of 16 in the regional. Hitting terrific .339 for the season. Right now, walks, hit batsman, errors, play as big as a hit. for NC State. You can probably hear some of the grumbling from the NC State fans on our microphones.
I don't think they're very pleased.
2-2.
Greenhill pitching on the edge of the first base side of the rubber. It's going to create a different angle for the hitter.
In contrast to Auburn getting the leadoff hitter aboard and scoring that leadoff hitter in 5 straight innings. It's happened only once for NC State, and Kinnaman did come around to score in the 4th. If necessary, game will be tomorrow night, tentatively set for 7 p.m. in the East. Long way to go, though, for the Wolfpack, trailing by 5. And it hit him. So on a 3-2 pitch, Josh McClain is aboard. Throws the bat away, and he'll stroll down to first base.
Yeah, that ball up and in, and you see that kind of caught him in the forearm right there. McClain, he's already has a tweaked hamstring, and now he's got a big mark on his arm. I guarantee there's some seams on that one.
It's not fun being a leadoff hitter, is it?
Oh, he wore that one.
Brett Kinnaman, who walked to lead off the 4th, and he scored. Lefty against righty. Looking ahead to the Auburn 6th, middle of the lineup, Venter, Julian, Estes.
One thing, if you're NC State, you've got to play base to base right now, down 6. So everybody's taking a very safe lead. You definitely can't get picked off.
Two balls and a strike. Will Wilson would bat next. NC State has had little out of its top 3 hitters so far. A combined 0 of 5. Plus a walk and a hit batsman moments ago. There's Wilson.
This is a long conversation. I'm surprised they're letting this go this long.
As this game now has entered 2 hours. Kinnaman to short, and somehow or ever a double play. Oh my goodness.
What a circus play right there by Auburn. Holland goes in there, tries to get the short hop, and this is when you know things are going your way. It deflects off of him, but where does it go? Right to Jarvis, the second baseman, and he turns the 6-4-3 unconventional double play.
After 5, it remains Auburn 8, NC State 3. Look at the Auburn dugout. Chance to bring you up to speed on the all-SEC selections, which include no less than 7 Tigers, headed up by Casey Mize, the #1 draft pick by the Tigers, likely tomorrow night. Then Will Holland, Stephen Williams, Edouard Julian, Tanner Burns, Cody Greenhill, and Luke Jarvis as an all-defensive SEC player. And now for the 6th consecutive inning, an Auburn Tigers aboard, the leadoff hitter. Well, sometimes NC State's just made it easy for Auburn.
Yeah, they really have. They've given them several runs that come around and scored. That leadoff guy on base is just haunting the Wolfpack.
For the record, 5 of the 8 that have scored have been by walks or errors, not by hits.
Well, Julian's a guy you got to be very careful with.
How about the double play to end the inning, though?
That was ridiculous. I mean, Holland, you saw him try to go. He decided, should I charge it? Should I go back? So he went in, then he went back, and then he decided, I better go in and try to short hop it. The ricochet right to Jarvis. I mean, you just can't make that up.
You don't think they practiced that, do you?
I don't think so.
1-1 on Edouard Julian. Let's go back to the end of the 5th inning. This one was headed to center field.
Yeah, look at the short hop right there. Jarvis heads up, stays with it. You look at the reaction by Anthony. Do you think he wants it? Absolutely.
A ball and 2 strikes. Graduation held on the NC State campus a couple of weeks ago. About 13,000 in PNC Arena for grads and family and friends. Most of the campus vacated now for a bit of a summer break, but the fans have come back for baseball.
Outfield kind of swung around to left field for Julian. They're thinking he's going to go the opposite field.
On a 1-2, he's called out.
Great pitch right there. Beanline just paints the inside corner. I think if Julian swings at this ball, there's nothing he can do. Look at this location right under his hands. That is a perfect pitch. I think Julian thought it might have been up just a bit. They're pretty good to me.
Wolfpack have their big guns coming up in the 6th inning into 3, 4, and 5 hitters. We're still a couple outs away from that as JST steps in with a man aboard and 1 out. Crank toward left center field. Kinnaman will get it. And Venter gets back to first, 2 outs.
The second baseman, Luke Jarvis.
Now Luke Jarvis. Reached on an error in the 2nd and scored. Sacrificed in the 3rd, walked in the 4th.
And Jarvis almost wore that one. Venture with a very safe lead. I think if he fell down, the base was hitting him in the chest.
Yeah.
It's about a 3-foot lead over there.
Another one, little chin music there. Lucas scored 5 runs in the tournament. Will Holland one better at 6.
I'm Jarvis. I'm not sure if I'm digging in right here. A couple right under his chin.
Yeah. Toward third base. That'll do it. And for the first time tonight, the Tigers fail to score in an inning. Wilson, Bailey, Edwards in the bottom of the 6th for the Pack. In Conway, South Carolina, the Huskies of Washington have punched a ticket to the Super Regionals, beating the Huskies of UConn 9-6. Wilson leading off the bottom of the 6th for the Wolfpack.
So here's some big-time production from the 4, 5, and 6 batters of NC State. They're the only ones that got hits. 1 through 3, 0 for. 7, 8, 9, 0 for. They need the production throughout that lineup to chip away at this 8-3 lead. See the check swing right there. Wilson could not hold up.
Doesn't chase the one in the dirt, 1 and 2. Wolfpack not out of time yet, but it's starting to get late. 2 balls, 2 strikes. ...116th start and a terrific career for NC State. And he is called out on strikes. And Wilson's going to let home plate umpire Grady Smith know about it. Elliot Avent is questioning. And he's still got more words for him.
He's saying that ball's up in the strike zone.
Do you think that strike has been a consistent call tonight?
I don't know. Earlier on, it seems like it was a ball. It seems like that pitch is expanding just a little bit.
Patrick Bailey swings and misses. Bailey a run-scoring double back in the fourth to give him 6 runs batted in the tournament. Evan Edwards would be next. Did he go? Yep. Back-to-back strikeouts. 3 in the game now for Greenhill, the freshman.
The first baseman, number 18. Evan
Those are some
Edwards.
big strikeouts. Some momentum swing back to the Tigers.
Cody Greenhill, 6'4", 216 pounds, and he's dealing right now. There has been only 1 inning in which NC State has scored or had a hit. That was the 4th inning. For a high-powered offense like the Wolfpack, that's saying something about Auburn's pitching.
Only 3 hits in this ball game, and like we talked about, it's all come from 4, 5, and 6.
A ball and 2 strikes. Oh, by the way, in the NBA, Golden State 59, Cleveland 46 at the break. Games 3 and 4 switch back to Quicken Loans Arena. The hop towards second. Easy play. Inning over. Edwards hustling out by a step. NC State down to its final 9 outs. 8-3 after 6. 8-3 top of the 7th. Auburn back at the plate. Centella warming up right now for NC State. That's Connor Centella, redshirt freshman from Tampa. Troy Ecklet, Jim Barber. Part of the ESPN coverage on the road to Omaha. Auburn undefeated, can wrap it up tonight.
Michael Beanline has really come in and kind of quieted this Auburn offense down. That's what they needed.
Connor Davis at the plate, the leadoff. Toward right field. First time tonight that the leadoff hitter for the Tigers has not reached. Here's Josh Anthony. 3 at-bats, 3 hits, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs. He is at a tournament to remember.
Absolutely on fire.
And you think about the change that Butch Thompson made with him, which apparently has suited him quite nicely.
It's about the second or third time that Anthony has squared to bunt and the pitch almost right at him.
Stephen Patera playing even with the bag, keeping an eye on him. Ready to rush a bunt. Auburn Tigers hoping to enjoy the MLB draft tomorrow night. Starting to prepare for the Super Regional. They can wrap things up this evening. NC State is going to have to come from 5 back now with just 3 innings to go.
Good at bat right here by Josh Anthony. Beanline just continues to fill up the strike zone.
Think about the bottom of the order, and you mentioned this earlier. Steven Patera's 1 for 11 in the regional. JT Jarrett 1 for 13. Anthony, in the meantime, who came in 5 for 8, is 8 for 11. That is a huge difference.
That's just on fire.
Tigers now with 43 hits in the regional. Butch Thompson was speaking before the game how he wished his team would get a better start tonight, and that happened. With a run in the first, 3 in the second, and a couple in the third. Certainly in the attack mode he had hoped for. That's the first time tonight that Josh Anthony's been retired. It's been a tough out.
He really has. And it's just battling, and that ball, almost kind of a misplaced breaking ball, kind of got up and in. And you see Anthony kind of started his swing and had to stop it and restart it again.
Now Will Holland walked into first and scored, walked into second, lined out in the third, doubled in a run in the fifth. Holland, another one's had a terrific tournament.
A pretty breaking ball right there by Beanline.
Holland has driven in 5 and it's scored 6 times. Strike away from a 7th inning stretch. Stretch time at the ballpark. And the Pack is hoping it's rally time as well. Other scores, Vanderbilt 16, Clemson 6. Potential closeout game in the 8th. Shortstop Connor Kaiser has 3 home runs. Good for 9 runs batted in, and he came into the tournament with just 3 home runs on the season.
Wow. Have a day, Connor Kaiser.
Nine outs remain in the Wolfpack season. Can they turn it around? Brock Detheridge, who has struck out and doubled in 2, tripled in 2. Leading off the 7th inning. And down 2 strikes to Cody Greenhill. Towards second base. Detheridge flying down the line. Luke Jarvis makes the play, however, 1 out.
That's why Luke Jarvis is the all-SEC defensive team. He knows who's running, a guy that can really scoot. He's got to really be aggressive and attack that baseball.
Shane Shepard will bat for Devontae Brown, who was 0 for 2. 7 ground ball outs in the game for the Auburn Tigers off NC State hitters. It's redundant. NC State needs base runners, however.
Yeah, you almost have to take 2 pitches right here. A home run's really not going to do you a lot.
Houston has tightened up the game with North Carolina. It's now 14-11 over in Chapel Hill. Tar Heels trying to close out that. Houston just rallied with 4 in the 8th, still batting. 3-2.
Greenhill pulled a string on that one.
He's got a lot of poise out there, too.
Yeah, he really does. He doesn't waste a lot of time. He just gets on the bump and gets that sign and goes to work. Yeah, good eye by Shane Shepard. I don't think you waste a pinch runner right here. I think you leave him in the game and let him run.
Stephen Patera, 0 for 2, 1 for 11 in the regional.
In the Fayetteville Regional, Arkansas is up 3-2 now on Dallas Baptist.
Run down the third base line. Going to be a tough play. Well, for Patera, who had struggled mightily, that's a huge play.
Yeah, it really is. Just a picture-perfect bunt right there by Patera. Again, the location is outstanding. I like the decision right there by Brendan Venter. Don't make a great play into just an absolute disaster for your team.
Agreed.
Just eat it. But I do like him spinning and throwing the ball to second base just in case Shepard wandered off at second.
Terrell Tatum will step in, a pinch hitter out of Collierville, Tennessee. He has DH'd in a number of league games this year. There's still a few base runners away from getting the tying run to the plate. Steve Smith with a slow walk to the mound. Look at the Tiger pen. This is just the second inning in which NC State has put more than one man on base.
Yeah, you just feel like that if they need to do something, you do it right here.
Davis Daniel is in a
the pin down for the Auburn Tigers. Daniel is a starter, so they may try to go to him to close this game out.
almost all hands on deck. 2 on, 1 out, bottom of the 7th. Ball 1.
Here's some interesting defensive placement by Auburn. The first baseman, Josh Anthony, is in front of, and even with the bag at first base with the left-handed hitter, I guess he's going to try to take away the bunt.
Not a bad idea. No reason to hold the runner on because he can't go if the man at second doesn't take off.
With a left-handed hitter, I don't even care how you don't hit with much power. I'm playing behind the runner at first. He finally moves back behind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a ball and 2 strikes, and now so far Green Hill has overmatched Tatum.
I think the pitch was a strike, and I think he did not check his swing as well.
Behind now, a ball and 2 strikes with 2 on, 1 out. And Green Hill went right after him. 2 outs. Back to the top for Josh McClain.
Yeah, that's a big strikeout right there by Auburn. Tatum just kind of pulling off the baseball. You see that head fly and that front shoulder fly open. I think he's trying to hit the ball out of the park, and you don't need a home run right there. You need a base hit.
McClain, 4th appearance tonight at the plate, 0 for 2, hit by a pitch. Left field base hit. They're going to send the man around. Now they'll hold him. Wise play. He would have been dead, but the bases now are loaded.
Yeah, that ball was laced into left field by Josh McClain, and wise decision by the third base coach for NC State.
Here's an opportunity with a home run powered man at the plate in Brett Kinnaman.
Well, you're down 5. There's no reason to send that runner right there. It means absolutely nothing.
Here's a big moment in the game. Wolfpack fans standing. Strike 1. Kinnaman 0 for 2, doubled up on an unusual play in the 5th. Strike 2.
Boy, Greenhill not afraid to pitch inside to Kinnaman. You don't see many guys want to go inside to a power hitter, but that's a great job at tying him up right there.
And just barely able to keep that alive. Off the glove of Brett Wright. Two strikes, bases loaded. Pack with a chance, but Greenhill down in the count. Strike 3 call. Man, this freshman's impressive. Struck out 2 in the 6th and gets out of a bases loaded jam in the 7th.
Yeah, Greenhill just pitching, coming up big. I don't think that Kinnaman thought he was going to go after him 0-2, but he did. Auburn still up 8-3. There's been a lot of offense in this ball game. It started with Josh Anthony finding the gap in left center field, scoring Luke Jarvis for Auburn. Anthony wasn't done yet. A ball that just got through, squeaked and scored 2 runs right there. Estes is the last man to come across. Patrick Bailey, the freshman sensation for the Wolfpack, comes up with a big double right there, scoring 1. And then Deathridge with a triple to center field, scoring 2, sparking the Wolfpack lineup. And then Will Holland comes up and rips a double down the line, scoring Josh Anthony. And then look at this crazy double play. The deflection off the shortstop Holland to Jarvis to Anthony. Unconventional 6-4-3, but that's where we are right now. 8-3, Auburn in the lead.
Just like they draw that double play up.
Yeah. Let's practice the deflection double play right now.
Top of the 8th for the Tigers. This place is quieted down considerably. That might have been NC State's last gasp. Down to 6 outs now, trying to keep the season going. Stephen Williams, Brett Wright, Brendan Venter scheduled to hit 2, 3, and 4 for Auburn in the 8th. Seven and a quarter to go, third quarter at Oracle. Golden State 69, Cleveland 61. Base hit left field. Stephen Williams with 2 hits in the game, and now 7 for the regional. After 7 innings, Tigers nearly untouchable, while NC State 5-12. You almost get the feeling that seventh inning was the best opportunity NC State's going to get. Still have 6 outs to go, but that was a chance there with the bases loaded. Double play ball, and they can't even get one on the overthrow. Runner around third, they're going to send him home. Poor fielding on the part of the Wolfpack, and it's now 9-3 Auburn. If it hasn't been sealed, maybe that has sealed the game for the Tigers.
Yeah, double play ground ball that just turned into an adventure right here. You see the bobble and then the bad throw just into right field, and that's going to allow Williams to come all the way around from first base to score. That is a huge miscue right there.
4 errors on the night now for NC State. As the infield comes in, and it's the 7th inning of the 8 in which the leadoff hitter has reached and has scored for Auburn.
That's a new third baseman. That's Dylan Cooper over there that made that error.
Down the left field line, and another for the Tigers. And now into second base is Venter. They should have had him. The wheels are coming off for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, Venter hit that ball, and it got back in quickly by Kinnaman. First of all, the base hit to the outfield. Kinnaman cuts it off, makes a strong throw in. Venter is in no man's land in between first and second right there, but then the miscue by the second baseman allows Venter to scamper into second base.
Well, you look at the Tiger dugout, a number of fans are starting to leave.
That was Patera at second base. He couldn't come up with that ball.
Edouard Julian at the plate. There'll be better seasons, at least better endings to seasons for the Wolfpack, who were the top seed coming in. That fell behind the 8-ball, so to speak, by losing to Army Friday night and had to fight its way out of the losers bracket. I'm not sure I've seen many games on any level where a team has put its leadoff hitter aboard and scored practically every inning, like Auburn has.
That's just been the story of the night, is that leadoff man getting on and coming around and scoring.
3 balls, no strikes on Julian. And again, Auburn, if it hangs on, and it now has a 7-run lead, matching its largest, which was 7-0 in the 4th. They have some extra time over the Gainesville winner because that regional's been held up by rain all day today. Still in the 7th inning of elimination game. Which means if the favored Gators, the defending national champions, the top seed in that region and in the national seeding, are to win, they're going to have less time to get ready for the Super Regionals at home. 2 unearned runs off 2 Wolfpack errors here in the 8th. And the Wolfpack now have as many errors as they do hits.
Yeah, that's really tough right there for NC State. And the only advantage you said for Florida is the last statement you made was they get to play at home in the Super. So that's huge. If you're getting delayed by rain and bad weather, that you don't have to travel, because then that erases that travel day, and you're kind of back on schedule, so to speak.
Going to be a pitching change right now for NC State. And for the Wolfpack, Connor Centella, redshirt freshman from Tampa, will get another opportunity in this regional. We'll take a break. Auburn again back up by 7. Man. You're watching the NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One. Jim Barber, Troy Eklund starting to thin out. Partisan NC State crowd pretty much convinced that it's not going to happen for the Wolfpack as Connor Centella comes on. It had been a 7-0 deficit, reduced to 7-3. Then it was 8-3. And then in the bottom of the 7th, an opportunity for NC State with the bases loaded, but Brett Kunneman called out on strikes. That ends the threat. And Auburn now has scored 2 with the help of a couple of NC State errors.
Yeah, I think that was, you're right. You hit the nail on the head with that bottom of the 7th, bases loaded. You really felt you've got a guy at the plate with 17 home runs. You felt like something good was going to happen for NC State. And the 0-2 pitch that was right down Broadway, and Kinnaman had no idea that they were going to attack him like that, and struck out looking. That was kind of the backbreaker.
Bunt down the third base line. Everybody's safe. Jay Estes on for the 4th time tonight.
I like the old saying goes, if they're going to give it to you, take it. There's a lot of baseball left to be played. Estes just a perfect bunt. Dylan Cooper comes in and I think wisely just eats it.
35 runs now, 46 hits for Auburn in 3 games. Here's Luke Jarvis. Minnesota now leading UCLA 13-6 in the 5th with a chance to advance toward third base. They'll go home with this one for 1 out. Venter cut down. Julian to third. Estes to second, and Luke Jarvis on the fielder's choice now to first.
The left fielder, number 24, Connor Davis.
Here's Connor Davis. Flight out to center and to right. One of the fly balls, a sacrifice fly. 2 strikeouts. Infield at double play depth at the third, or rather the shortstop and second base positions. Well, the way things are going, if it continues to rain in Gainesville, Troy, it's possible Auburn will show up and get a chance to scout.
Yeah, that's pretty comical, but yeah, you never know.
Now, the Gators are heavy favorites to win. I suppose if you do show up in advance with an opportunity to watch and the Gators don't win, you've got to turn around and probably go back and host an Auburn.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a bit of a stretch, I suppose, but ball and 2 strikes.
Big swing by Davis. Boy, the Wolfpack has really got to get out of this. Boy, in the top right, Vandy, 17-6 over Clemson.
Connor Kaiser with 9 RBIs and 3 home runs. Well over 200 home runs launched in this regional so far, and there's still at least 1 night, maybe 2 to go. 2 outs. Josh Anthony, another look at Centala's 1-2 pitch.
Yeah, a really good pitch, really kind of tied up. Davis right there with that fastball in. Man, Josh Anthony, he's a guy that's just been absolutely locked in at this point in this tournament.
Down the right field line, that could clear the bases. Speaking of being locked in, 1 scores, 2 scores. Anthony with a bases loaded double. What a tournament for Josh Anthony.
And cleared everybody with that swing. And I'm telling you, he is a guy that is really, really seeing the ball big. Just goes the opposite field, taking what the pitcher gives him. No chance out there for Deathridge to run that ball down. He gets it in as quickly as possible, but those Auburn Tiger base runners were off to the races.
Doesn't that make Butch Thompson, the head coach, feel so good about the changes he's made with Anthony, and he has just exploded here in this regional?
There's a lot to be said with playing a position defensively that you're just not comfortable with, and you carry it over into the plate, and that's what Anthony was doing.
Back to the top of the order. Will Holland to the plate for the 6th time. He's walked twice. Doubled in a run. Officially 1 for 3. Anthony's line is super. 5 at bats, 2 runs scored, 4 hits, 5 RBIs. And Holland's the 9th man to come to the plate. Now running to 500 runs in the 8th inning for Auburn.
Yeah, they're up a 10 spot right now on the Wolfpack and just kind of cruising, but they're not taking the foot off the gas.
Down to third base line. Should end the inning. Tigers get 5 more. Now 38 runs and counting in 3 games on their way to winning the Raleigh Regional. Time now for today's Capital One rewarding performance. There have been a bunch of them tonight. But how about this one? The bases loaded, 2 outs, the punch out by Greenhill that enabled them to get out of a bases loaded jam with the score 8-3. And Brett Kinnaman with an opportunity there, but Greenhill with a called third. And with the score remaining at 8-3, then floodgates open in the 8th when Auburn scores 5.
Yeah, I think that was just kind of broke the will and the spirit of this NC State ball club.
Well, this sport is no different than any other. Momentum is pretty large, particularly when you have it and when the opposition tries to get it back and is denied. And Greenhill, the freshman, came through with a big-time pitch. This one set up in the air about a mile. Who's going to get it? Nobody. Going to drop for a double by Patrick Bailey. Well, what happened there?
Well, Venter called for it, and then he backed off of it. Venter's the third baseman. It's pretty much, I think, first of all, nobody's calling for it at this point. But Venter looks like he was yelling. You see him kind of wave that arm. And then I guess Anthony must have come in because it was on the first base side. Nobody's paying attention. Heads up base running right there.
I almost thought Anthony called everybody off, but who knows? Evan Edwards now stepping to the plate. Just the 6th NC State hit.
Pretty good hit when you hit it about 12 feet in front of home plate for a double.
Many of the fans saying, where was that hit when we needed it? Or misplay. Coming up on the 10 o'clock hour, and the game almost in length of 3 hours. 5 outs remain for Auburn to close the deal. And it could be an all-SEC Super Regional in Gainesville. But again, still a lot to be decided at the University of Florida due to weather. 2 men on. And Brock Deathridge, who way back in the 4th inning, tripled in a couple.
The right fielder, number 13, Brock Deathridge.
Line score, Auburn 13-13-1. NC State 3-6-5. 5 errors.
Brett Wright thought about going out there to talk to his pitcher, and he took about 4 steps out there, and he goes, I think he's okay.
Yeah. Still throwing hard, certainly.
I think what he did is he thought about, you know what, if I go out there, I might mess up his rhythm. Because it seems like the Greenhill's a guy that just wants to get the ball and go, And he literally, his first instinct was, I got to go calm him down. He's like, nope, I'm going to screw him up if I do. Let's get back behind the dish.
What's a legendary story about Tim McCarver coming out to talk to Bob Gibson? Gibson saying the only thing you know about pitching is that you can't hit it.
Get behind the plate.
Yeah. Spanked to right field, but right on line to Stephen Williams. 2 outs. Hit hard.
And it's one of those atom balls right at him. Williams really did almost have to move.
The designated hitter, Shane Shepard.
Shane Shepard, the DH, inserted in the lineup in the 7th, walked. So hoping to be a part of a big inning, but died at 3rd.
What a job by Cody Greenhill to be able to come in there and just kind of chew up a ton of innings for the Tigers.
And it's looked good in doing so. 80 pitches now for the relief pitcher and freshman Greenhill. One-two pitch. Deep to right field. And gone. Shepard blasts one over the right field wall. Good for 3 runs, 13-6. Boy, he smoked it.
He really did. Never say never. That's why Shepard's in the lineup. He was a pinch hitter earlier on in this game. He got all that one. Hit it a ton. Look at the launch angle on this one. That ball, he's just full extension right there. He knew it. That finger goes up, and he said, yeah, thank you, Lord.
Steven Patera to the plate, laid down a bunt the previous inning. 13-6. About what we expected.
I like Greenhill coming back. Just keep pumping strikes. When you're up 10, got to throw strikes. Make them earn it. Shepard did.
Vandy now leading 19-6 in the ninth. Now the biggest run total in the tournament belongs to Oklahoma. 20 against Mississippi State. Bulldogs getting their revenge tonight. Vandy's got 19. Minnesota 13 on UCLA. Leading 13-6. The same score here. Base hit center field. Wolfpack on going quietly. Wonder if Greenhill's a bit gassed right now.
I think so.
He's approaching 90 pitches.
Good job right there. I know he's just throwing strikes, but I think you got to go get him right here. Nice job by Patera.
Brad Debo will pinch hit.
That's going to do it for Cody Greenhill. An outstanding job. He did his job at the end. Just throw strikes. That's what he's called upon to do.
Gave up a single, double, and a homer in this inning. Tigers go to the pen. And we go to break. It has been a very entertaining eighth inning. Two teams that combined for 8 runs, and the inning is still not over. Auburn trying to close out the Raleigh Regional. By the way, updating Connor Kaiser of Vandy, he now has 10 runs batted in and the 3 homers, the 10 RBI tie an NCAA tournament record.
Are you sure that's a college game and it's not Little League?
Well,
wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Davis Daniel on for Auburn. Appearance 17 with an ERA of 5.21. He's getting up a lot of hits and a bunch of walks. Brad Debo trying to get on and turn this lineup around. Get back to Josh McClain. Strike one.
I think if I'm Auburn, you're up 7, and Josh Anthony's holding the runner on at first with a left-handed batter. I play right behind him.
Yeah,
I think that's
sure I get that.
That might burn Auburn.
Doesn't matter. 3 pitches, 3rd out. To the 9th we go. Auburn's that close to winning the regional. Time now for our player of the game, brought to you by Capital One. It is Josh Anthony, the number 9 hitter for the Tigers, who doubled in a run in the 2nd, got a hit and an RBI in the 3rd, got a hit and scored in the 5th, and then cleared the bases in the 8th with a triple.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. Just like I said, he's absolutely locked in at the plate. And when you've got a guy like that, oh, yeah, by the way, he's your 9-hole hitter.
Yeah.
He's your player of the game. Oh, my goodness.
Three players are 20 points or more for the Warriors now, who lead Cleveland 96-83 a couple of minutes into the 4th quarter, trying to go up 2-0 in the series. On ABC, base hit to start the 9th inning by Stephen Williams. Williams has 3 hits tonight, 8 now in the regional.
And the leadoff man for Auburn continues to get on base. It's
8 of the 9 innings.
It's unbelievable. That just literally almost never happens.
Yeah.
Number 22, Brett Wright.
It's been fun just keeping total of the runs and hits. 38 runs, 48 hits. 17, 17, and now 14 for Auburn in the 3 games.
You just want to snap your fingers if you're Auburn and just wake up and it's the Super Regional.
Yeah.
Don't even spend this whole week of doing anything.
He may get the jump on the winner there, that's for sure, in Gainesville, because that's being held up by rain. By the way, it's raining in Chapel Hill right now, not too far down the road, where North Carolina is trying to finish up that regional, leading Houston 14-11, bottom of the 8th.
Got a piece of Bailey right there.
Well, Patrick, minus an inning or two, has caught both ends of the doubleheader today for NC State.
He's a freshman. He's still young. He's got some spring in those legs left.
And here I thought you were going to congratulate him. Gabe Gross serves as the hitting coach for the Tigers. He's an Auburn All-American who hit .430 in 2000. Chance for a double play, complete. 2 outs.
That's when you know who's running right there, the catcher, Brett Wright.
And Gross, by the way, was part of the Rays World Series appearance in Tampa.
Yeah, I think he's really added a lot. Butch Thompson gives Gabe Gross a lot of credit for, his contributions to this Auburn lineup.
So 2 outs for Brendan Venter. Has a couple of runs batted in. Tigers have scored in every inning but the 6th and the 7th, and to this point, the 9th. Down the left field line, fair ball. Venter around first. Sliding into second.
Big night, Brendan Venter. He's really swinging the bat well. He just kind of hooked one that down into the corner. I tell you what, these Auburn Tigers, they're not going down quietly. That's going to draw a pitching change right here. NC State's going to go to the lefty to get the lefty-lefty matchup.
Scott Foxhall, the pitching coach, out for the Wolfpack. And we'll come back in a minute. Welcome back. Play continues here in the top of the 9th. And Nick Swinney, 6'3", 170 freshman from Huntersville, North Carolina, who struck out 8 of 9 potential batters in a win over Air Force, is getting his regional opportunity.
Yeah, you see the numbers right there. Really good ERA at 3.26, 30 and a third innings pitched. The good 37 Ks, more strikeouts in innings pitched is what you're looking for. Good strikeout to walk ratio, and a big breaking ball from the left-hander.
This game began at 4 minutes after 7 o'clock. The Tigers got their leadoff hitter aboard at Will Holland. He scored, and they were off to the races after that. Starts Edouard Julian off with a strike.
And there it is, right on cue. I think started in Julian's back pocket. And then knees buckled just a little bit.
Wild pitch, throw down to third, not quite. Venter sliding in.
That ball is just airmailed, and then it just ricochets off the padding on the back, and pretty nifty tag over there by Cooper between the legs. Almost got him.
It was close.
At least he got something for style points over there with the tag.
Yeah. Toward center field, hit pretty well. Gone. Edouard Julien, homering for the second time in this tournament. 2 more for the Tigers. 15-6. They're opportunistic. They'll tag anybody.
Yeah, that ball is a hanging breaking ball that Julian just crushes to center field. McLean out there just gave up on it. He knew that ball was hit well. Auburn faithful, they're still out there cheering.
Should mention that David Vasquez is the third baseman now for North Carolina State. Tigers are 1 in the first, 3 in the second, 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, 5 in the eighth, 2 in the ninth. They need 1 more hit to match their hit total in each of the first 2 games, 17. It is now 50 hits in this tournament. 50.
That's so impressive. It's amazing.
Everyone is, excuse me, Troy, everyone but Connor Davis has actually scored a run for Auburn tonight.
I'm just trying to think, how many bad swings in this whole tournament have you seen an Auburn Tiger take?
Not many.
Not many. These guys haven't been on their front foot. They're not expanding the strike zone. I mean, just the whole entire team is just locked in at the plate.
Luke Jarvis to the plate now after Jay Estes walks.
This second baseman, number 9, Luke Jarvis.
Indiana leading Texas in Austin 2-1. 5th inning. IU wins. That forces a, if necessary, game tomorrow night. Two teams tonight combining for 21 runs, 24 hits. And NC State mostly responsible for the errors, 6 total between the two schools. Luke Jarvis has been on base 3 times tonight, once on a fielder's choice and scored, once on an error and scored, and on a walk.
Jarvis at 2 strikes, still choking up on that bat. This is a guy that takes a very short, protective, defensive swing with 2 strikes.
Toward right field. To the bottom of the 9th we go. Auburn about set to celebrate the Raleigh Regional Championship. Bottom of the 9th. Auburn leading 15-6, just about ready to close out the Raleigh Regional and head to the Super Regional. Site to be determined. Likely Gainesville if it ever gets out of the rain. And if the Gators can ever win that regional because of the weather. Base hit down the left field line. And Josh McClain sliding in with a double, a second hit of the game, and his 8th of the regional.
Talked about how hard that ground is right in front of home plate, and McClain just pounds one in there over the third baseman Venter's head. And you see, with that bad hamstring, he's still just kind of cruising into second base right there.
Here's Brett Kinnaman. 0 for 3 tonight. 3 of 14 in the tournament.
I guess it's a good move right here.
Jack Conley to run for Josh. Huge ovation. Final game as a member of the pack.
An outstanding player. It's one way in baseball to kind of get your ovation. I like it.
Nice move by the head coach, Elliot Avent.
I totally agree.
Vandy has just finished out its win over Clemson. And Connor Kaiser with his RBI tying record of 10. 19-6 the final. Commodores moving on to a super regional. Auburn about to do the same. Duke remains alive, eliminating Troy. Been a tough tournament for Kinnaman. Out on strikes for the second time, 3 of 15 in the regional after arriving above 280.
Yeah, just up and in the inside corner. Kinnaman didn't agree. Auburn with its first out. 2 more, and then they're punch their ticket for the super regional.
Will Wilson has been held hitless tonight. Skies one toward right center field. And now there are 2 outs. And the Tiger fans, they're not big in number, but they're big in spirit, and they are standing. Everybody's got their camera ready.
That's right.
They will win their first trip to the Super Regional in almost 20 years. Last time, 1999. We're reminded that Patrick Bailey had that 12-foot double back in the 8th inning. The last hope right now for the pack. 2 balls and a strike. Toward right field. Off the wall. Bailey drives home a run. It's 15-7. And that is his 3rd hit of the night, 6th of the tournament.
You got to love the fight by the Wolfpack. Just continue to scratch. You got a long way to go.
The first baseman, number 18, Evan Edwards.
Now Evan Edwards. Washington, Stetson, and Vandy have punched tickets to the Super Regional. SEC 20-4. Pac-12, not bad either, 9-2. This could do it. Ball game. Regional title to the Tigers.
Yeah, just too much Auburn offense in this tournament. The hit parade just never stopped. Just an amazing performance. Now they're going to probably take on the Florida Gators in Gainesville.